daughter had been taken God knows where. 4 states away by now. Or in some dank basement. Or the kind of place you didn't even want to think about. At first, there were some impressive and enthusiastic community efforts at pitching in. Not just from the owner of the local printing company, but from Laurie and Jake's inner circle. The Kellys, whose daughter, Toni, was the best friend Jennifer had been on her way to see that afternoon. And the Shapiros, Kleins, and Moonies, who were all fixtures at Laurie and Jake's 4th of July barbecues. The blowouts always featured a kick-ass fireworks show, courtesy of Jake's stepbrother, Brent, who drove up a truckload of cherry bombs and bottle rockets from North Carolina, and, rumor had it, sold them on consignment to the neighborhood teens. In fact, people who'd never even met the Kristals joined in the search. People from the neighborhood whose daughter or son was in the same first-grade class as Jennifer, or on the same soccer team. People who didn't know Jennifer at all, but had kids of similar age and experienced there but for the grace of God moments. And there were those who helped because they were simply drawn to that sort of thing. There were Jennifer Park searches, where volunteers groggily gathered at 6 a.m. in Hunter Park. They'd form a line straight across, not unlike the first wave of a football onside kick formation, combing the tangled shrubs straight down to the lake. There was a Jennifer hotline, manned round the clock in those first few weeks, fueled by prodigious amounts of coffee provided gratis by the local Dunkin' Donuts. A rotating support group set up shop in the Kristals' house on Maple Street, bringing baked ziti, casseroles, bagels, and other assorted nourishment so that Laurie, Jake, and their son Ben could have something to eat. Not that Laurie or Jake consumed many calories that first week. But Ben, who was all of 8, walked around with a perpetual smear of donut glaze across his upper lip. There was even a mass rally held at the local school auditorium, where the teary parents addressed the overflow crowd, beseeching anyone who'd seen anything at all, a strange car, an odd-looking person, or overheard even a mildly suspicious comment to please report it to the Jennifer hotline. The detective in charge of the investigation, Blooper, a veteran of some 20 years, weighed in, providing the somewhat morose admonition that the first few days were crucial to there being a happy conclusion here, saying this even as the first few days were, in fact, coming to a close. After Looper came to a dead end, there would be others placed in nominal authority. A private investigator hired by the Kristals named Landowski, who charged $500 a day to beat the bushes. Madame Laurette, a psychic, who claimed to have helped the police solve a number of baffling missing persons cases. And later on, much later, a cold case detective named Joe Pennebaker, who would scrupulously go over every single piece of evidence again. Which sounds more impressive than it was, since there really wasn't any evidence. Not any physical evidence, anyway. There were, of course, the usual false alarms. A registered sex offender who lived within running distance of the Kristals. A volunteered confession from an elderly man named Tom Doak, who kept a cache of pornography in his basement featuring young girls of indeterminate age. But the sex offender was found to have an airtight alibi, and Doak a long history of providing false confessions to the police, including copping to the assassinations of Medgar Evers, John Lennon, and yes, even President Kennedy, though Doak would have been beginning 2nd grade at the time. After a while, that first poster, like the community's interest in Jenny's disappearance, slowly began to fade. As hard as that was to grasp for her grief-stricken parents, it happens that way. Life intrudes. There are family matters, good, bad, and banal, to contend with. Graduations and divorces, anniversaries and funerals. A kind of communal attention deficit disorder seems to be on the uptick in this country anyway. The result of the internet, probably, where the next cigarette-smoking baby or celebrity train wreck is just seconds away. People lose interest at warp speed. And there were other tragedies to wallow in for those.